Hey man, what's up family? I got another thing to talk about that only I care about. And this is a very niche, very first world problem, but it has to be addressed. I want this on the internet right now. I want people to know. I really want them to digest it when I say the words that K-pop fans are something else. Alright, well big whoop dub, and tell us something that we don't know, alright? Your mother. Alright, yeah, I get it. It's very easy to poke fun at something that you don't understand. I get it, it's the meme, everybody does it. That's not what I'm talking about exactly though. I'm not talking about the kids and teenagers that has unfiltered access to the internet and Twitter that posts like fan cams and stuff like that, or tries to cancel anything that goes against their narrative or what they're into at that time. No, I'm talking about the people IRL, the K-pop fans that you see in person, the very timid group of people that don't talk to anybody. What could those guys possibly do in public that could just frazzle a person? Nothing actually. They're just expressing themselves. So like, you should pretty much respect that. It's the stuff that you don't see is very hilarious, and that's the topic of this video today. Alright, so what do we all know about K-pop? Well, besides this, a fad that's overstaying is welcome. To put it to you simply, it's just groups filled with good-looking people. All of them aren't even Korean.
Somebody said your English is so good. Yeah, I know. I'm Canadian.
On the quest to make really good viral tracks while maintaining an image throughout. J-pop is also cool, but it seems as though the marketability of K-pop has been mastered by the corporate overlords, and that might be the case for some time. BTS, Blackpink, New Jeans, fucking NCT, Psy, like all of these guys are K-pop. I'm quite certain that if you were a racist, you would just lop all of these Asians into one big bag and just call it all the same. And it's not. And as a person who works in retail, I unfortunately had to know the difference between all of this stuff, because we sell it religiously. Introducing the K-pop album. Now, what's special about this album compared to like other albums is that this one comes with prizes. It comes with little pictures, little photo cards, keychains and shit. It's actually the bee's knees for anybody who's a fan of the certain person's music. I will flip my fucking brick and shit if I had Tyler the Creator's album and it came with pictures of him. Actually, that kind of sounds weird that I say that out loud, but basically K-pop albums come with a whole lot more, hence why their sizes are uniquely different than any other album that you see on shelves. Actually, here's my first pet peeve of this whole situation. Again, I work in retail, and these albums are huge as fuck, and they don't fit on the shelves. Ever. My first experience with K-pop was the album Butter by BTS, and this is even a funnier story. Butter, the album, only consisted of one song, and they made this bitch the biggest box possible that only had one song. Not only that, they made two versions of it. One was lighter than the other. Therefore, whenever people came in to ask for it, they was like, hey, can I have the cream version? And at that time, I was like, what the fuck does that mean? And since it was so big, we could only have so many of it on the floor, and the rest were in the back. And those bitches sold out every 2 seconds, so I was just constantly going to the back. Now, usually people would say like, how come you don't just put all of them on the floor? Because there's other albums to sell. Again, this is like first world problems to people who don't like work in retail. Matter of fact, you probably just think of bitching and moaning. And I am. But it's just one of the many things that like runs as an inconvenience whenever you're trying to do customer service. Like imagine that you're trying to help somebody with a TV, tell them all the specs and whatnot, and you have another guest who walks up to you and say, hey, can I have 6 BTS albums? And I'm like, okay, give me a second. I gotta go get it from the back because somebody already bought 6 3 minutes ago, and I gotta restock it. But hold on now, that guy with the TV you was just helping is still waiting for you. It's just one of those things that you wish you had like 2 versions of yourself to help you out with this stuff. But whenever you're the only person that works in said department, it is quite the fun interaction. Again, I wouldn't really consider this a problem. It's just more of an inconvenience. Whenever business is booming, of course people will come here for the must-have item. But when the must-have item is 2 dicks long and it has 2 versions of it, you gotta put your foot down somewhere. On top of that, they send like 200 copies of the same album and then they never send them again, which is usually fine because they're usually sold out like within the first week. But sometimes they send 200 versions of an album that nobody gives a fuck about, and then we're just riddled with nothing but back stock of all of that garbage. And these albums are coming out weekly. Most of the time they're singles, but a grand majority of the time they're albums, but they all come with pictures. So everybody wants them. And when I say that they want them, oh my God, do they want them? What a lot of people don't know about the dark side of K-pop fans is that they are willing to steal. See, I can understand if a scammer buys like multiple of these albums in bulk so they can like resell them for triple the price online, but we try our best to make sure that that doesn't happen, so you know these little girls and teenagers can get their fucking albums. But it turns out the little girls and teenagers who want the albums don't even want to pay for them. Even worse, they just want the shit inside of them. They don't care about the music. Again, I could be tripping. Maybe this is just like a southern thing, and like maybe they only steal the K-pop albums here and shit like that. I'm not sure what's going on in the other retail stores. I'm not sure what's going on in like the big K-pop stores, that like the actual stores that are like centered towards that. For like the Targets, the Walmarts, and the Barnes and Nobles and whatnot, they are all going through security measures to make sure these little girls and teenagers don't steal these albums with the cute Korean people on them. Every day I clock into my shift and I see that the K-pop section is empty. And then I check my device to see if any has been sold. It always says none has been touched today, yesterday, or the day before, which means that they all just anonymously vanish. Everything I said about that timid little fan base all comes into fruition because you know the little devils that they actually are. And I'm sure that they're justifying it too. I'm sure that they're telling themselves, yeah, well, those big evil corporations that are bullying those Korean singers, yeah, this is my way to push back against them. I'm gonna take the fucking photo card of the Korean girl that I like, and I'm gonna make sure it's posted on my wall so I can show them that this is how to support my group. Meanwhile, there'll be customers that actually do want to buy the albums that ask us, hey, so like, why are all of these albums open? Hey, where are all the albums that your website says that you have? And we always have to tell them the exact same thing. Your kind took them. Your kind. It got so ridiculous to the point that we only kept one version of every album on the floor at all times. And they managed to fuck that up too. Sure, it was monotonous at first for us to like go to the back to get every album that like everybody ever wanted, like at all times on the clock. They still didn't stop stealing. Like we wouldn't even know that the album was out the shelf until we walk over there and the guest tells us, hey, where they at? And since our back room was getting filled with all of these albums that they sent 200 of each album, we just decided, fuck it, we're just gonna put every album on the floor at all times. It's fine, whatever. If they steal it, they steal it. Which results in more theft, and even more creatively, they just steal the stuff that are inside of it to leave for people who don't even know it, and therefore they purchase an album that has no photo cards in it, they want a refund, or they just don't want to buy the album at all. So we just gotta trash them because nobody wants an open product. It just amazes me that thievery is this common over some damn Korean albums. This is America. Don't catch you slipping now. The only way to truly stop this and to show that people are animals is to like spider lock these, or like, you know, put them inside of wraps and security measures so like people can't take them or alarms will go off. But I think that's a bit much for these little girls that just want a keychain with their favorite idol on it. And I personally don't care. I just find it super hilarious, and I have seen no coverage on this anywhere else, so I had to talk about it. Again, this is just a first world problem. This is just retail struggles. Who the fuck cares about retail? Have you ever flipped a burger before? How about the people who be stealing McDonald's fucking orders all the time? Yeah, I'm sure they go through a lot. But their stories aren't as hilarious as what I just told you. A little 7-year-old girl stealing the latest Jungkook album? Nah, man, that shit is fucking cinema, like fucking a Def Jam special compared to whatever you can tell me. So yeah, amen.